ethical code is better than another, but it means that we all have different perspectives on what is appropriate and what is inappropriate. So, for example, we have a video here. Yeah, meet Dan. Dan is the production manager for a printing company. Taiko Junction, one of the best customers, placed an order for 5,000 menus to be delivered on the 1st of the month. Dan just found out that the order will be delayed 1 week because someone on his team ordered the wrong paper. Dan has some conflict. Should he call Taiko Junction and explain what's really happened, or should he lie and ship the blame to the paper supplier? So Dan surely doesn't want to lose Taiko Junction as a customer, and they're not going to be happy about the delay. Lucky for Dan, his company has a clearly defined set of managerial ethics that covers situations like this. The policy is simple: don't lie, period. Even if they lose the customer, it is preferable than to losing their values. Then his company will back him if he calls and tells the truth, even if it results in the loss of business. So Dan picks up the phone and makes the call, hoping for the best and knowing he is doing the right thing. So that's an example about the ethics in business. Let's talk about 3 domains of human action. You can see a picture right here. Ethics are sort of in the middle of these 3 categories. It is between the codified law, in Vietnamese, luật được hệ thống hóa, on the left side, where there's a lot of control, important standards about what we are allowed to do, like values and standards are written into the legal system, such as driving on the right side of the road or obtaining licenses for cars. And free choice on the right side of the scale, where people get to do what they want and what please them and not worrying about anybody else. Like you ask yourself where to buy a new suit. I'm sorry, it's cái slide. I'm sorry. So between the free choice, on the right side of the scale, where people get to do what they want, what please them, and not worrying about anybody else. Like when you ask yourself where to buy a new suit for the job interview, it doesn't affect anybody, and the law has no say to it. So the problem is codified law is not always ethical, so that become a struggle for us. To be more specific, back in the old days, buying and selling slavery was legal, and the law accepted it. But that doesn't mean this action was right. That's why people need ethics or social standards to define things that people should or shouldn't do. For example, it is not illegal for a CEO to have an affair with his female secretary, but this action violated the company's code of ethical conduct, so he must be replaced. That's about the ethics. So before we moving on to the reality of ethical businesses today, we have to talk about the importance of ethics in the businesses world. Why should companies behave ethically? The top-ranked reason is to protect a company's brand and reputation. It's closely followed by the desire to do the right thing. So nowadays, ethical lapses are a huge problem. Suppose that you open a newspaper in the morning and there are always at least 1 or 2 news about corporations that have done some inappropriate things. As you can see, managers and organizations engage in unethical behavior for any number of reasons, such as greed, Vietnamese tham lam, irresponsibility, or lack of moral conscience. In Vietnamese, đạo đức lương tâm. Just because they aren't breaking the law doesn't necessarily mean they are being ethical. So let me illustrate by the scandal of Facebook about harvesting users' data without the consent. In total, people believe that the Facebook information of up to 87 million of people, mostly in the US, may have been improperly shared with Cambridge Analytica. So managers are the ones that set the tone for what is appropriate and what is inappropriate. As I mentioned before, the workplaces are filled with people with different ethical norms about what they consider to be ethical. So it's up to the top manager to set the climate that they think is appropriate. They have to act as role models for employees to follow. In fact, there are four primary ways in which managers can act to promote the climate in which everyone behaves in an ethical and socially responsible way. Ethical managers display honesty and integrity. In Vietnamese, thanh liêm, communicate and enforce social ethical standards through their behavior, are fair in their decisions and the distributions of rewards, and show kindness and concern to others. You can see that the picture with the circle right here is the four primary ways in which manager can act to promote the climate. And the next picture is some examples of different kinds of unethical or illegal behavior. I will just go into one particular case in this, what would be inappropriate and illegal behavior for customer, which is on the top of the picture. So one example of that is where we are misleading them through sale practice or making up data about how good the product is. And so we are not being honest with our customers about the issues that around a particular product. So we have to be honest with our clients. And then we also have some categories about unethical behavior towards employees and society. Unfortunately, in today's environment and over the faces of pleasing shareholders make some managers to behave ethically towards customers, employees, and the broader society. So anyways, we also have one more thing of this part to discuss about. It's about the business case for ethics and social responsibilities. Like individuals, organizations have a responsibility towards the wider impact that decisions taken today will have on generations to come. So short-term gains at the expense of long-term problems is not acceptable. The data imply that companies that are ethical and socially responsible perform as well as, and often even better than, those that are not socially responsible. So in simple words, a company that is trustworthy attracts more customers than others. And those corporations which are engaged in some illegal or unethical actions often lose their customers. Take Adidas as an example. It's known for its commitment to sustainability. So the German sport manufacturer ranked 17 on the recent list of top 100 most sustainable corporations in the world. So now people still consider Adidas products to be one of the most must-have items. Okay, that's a general picture about managerial ethics. So now I will leave the next part to the next person.
Maybe someone problem with me. Okay.
Hello everyone, I'm Phương Anh and now I would like to share my slide. Just wait a little bit.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, now I would like to move on to ethical dilemma, which is tình huống lưỡng nan về đạo đức in Vietnamese. So, what is an ethical dilemma? It's a situation in which all alternative choices or behaviors have potentially negative consequences. In other words, an ethical dilemma arises in a situation with uncertainty about what is right to do from a moral or ethical perspective. Right or wrong cannot be clearly distinguished. Now, for example, I take this example on the internet, so it's and for example, the first is taking credit for other work, offering a client a worse product for your own profit, utilizing inside knowledge for your own profit. And another example is that the manager of a company may be put in a position in which he must choose between the interests of his employees and his investors, give more profits or increase the salaries. That's our example of the ethical dilemma I get. And so the individual who must take an ethical choice in an organization is the moral agent. And now let's take a look at the trolley problem, a version of an ethical dilemma that philosopher Philip Barfoot devised in 1967. It's popular since it forces us to think about how to choose when there are no good choices. Do we pick the action with the best outcome or stick to a moral code that prohibits causing someone death? Now let's move to the case number one. Imagine you are watching a runaway trolley barreling down the tracks, straight towards 5 workers who can escape. You happen to be standing next to a switch that will divert the trolley onto a second track. Here's the problem. That track had a worker on it too, but just one. What did you do? Do you sacrifice one person to save 5? I want you guys to answer this question with me. And does anyone have a question? Does anyone want to share your opinion? Okay, I will share. Oh, I see. Kindly, can you turn on your mic and share your opinion?
I would choose to flip the switch because the number of people that we have to sacrifice is only 1, while the number of people we can save is 5, so which is a much bigger number.
Oh, okay, that's great. Thank you for your answer. And I saw that Diễm Quỳnh, can you give me your answer?
I have the same answer with the previous person too, because obviously the number of people that will be die is less, so I think it's a better outcome for those people. Yeah.
Okay, and I also see that Quang Nam and Ali Han want to share their answer. And can you turn on the mic to answer this problem?
So I won't hit the switch because I have no right to choose the death of the one workers. So I would rather shouting or do something else rather than turn the switch, because if I turn that switch, it also means that I'm killing a person, and I have no right to do that.
Okay, I understand. But in this situation, there's no warning, and you can inform anyone about the runaway trolley bearing down the tracks. So okay, thanks for your answer. And Quang Nam, do you want to share?
Yes. Hello. So first of all, I want to have a bit of a rebut because um, um, you guys says that you can base on the number of people, but that is given that you don't know who are these people, what is their work, are they a teacher, a doctor, a president, or something, and what if that one person is your mom and those five are strangers? Do you do the same? So I think you cannot base on the number of people. And if it were up to me, I would choose not to interfere to this scenario. So it's just an accident, whether it hits the one person or the five person. It's not for me to interfere. And if it is an accident, I have no wrongdoings here. That's my idea.
Okay, thank you for your all answers. And Quang Nam has a very different answer from others, but many people think the right thing to do would be to switch the points and to sacrifice one to save five, since that produces the best outcome possible. But moves to the case number 2. So in this time, you are standing on a bridge over the track as the runaway trolley approaches. Now there are no second track, but there is a very large man on the bridge next to you. If you push him over, his body will stop the trolley, saving the 5 workers, but he will die. And in this situation, you are a person who has a small body, and you can stop the trolley, but a large man can do it. And if you are in this situation, should you do that? Should you push a large man over and make him stop the trolley, saving 5 workers? Okay. I want you to share your answer with me this time. Okay. Again, Khánh Linh. Can you voice your opinion?
I won't pull the man on the track, because if I did it, I would feel guilty since I was the one who directly killed him, and my action would be considered as an act of inhumanity.
Okay. Okay, thank you for your opinion. And does anyone have any others opinion? Okay. Oh, Quang Nam, please.
Yes. So about Khánh Linh ideas, she said about feeling guilty, but I just wonder how about the feeling that you could have saved 4 people, but you just let them die. So I think if we just talk about feeling guilty, so letting four people die instead of 1 is worse. You will feel more guilty. So my answer is still the same. This is an accident, because I don't know why there are 4 people on the track of this train. Maybe it's due to the malfunctioning or the human error, but I think it is an accident, and as long as I don't interfere, whenever 4 people die, 1 people die, or 10 people die. It's just like a random accident that happens every day.
So you choose not to interfere in this situation?
Yes.
Oh, okay, okay. Thank you for your opinion. So for this case, will you push the man onto a track and sacrifice him in order to stop the trolley? Most people say no, but why not? In one survey, I found that about 19% of respondents say that it's okay to flip the switch in case 1, and in case number 2, only 10% of people say that it's okay to throw a man onto the tracks. Both of these thought experiments are cases of sacrificing one to save 5. What the trolley problem examines is whether moral decisions are simply about outcomes or about the manner in which you achieve them. Our instincts tell us that deliberately causing someone's death is different than allowing them to die. It just feels wrong for reasons that are hard to explain. And so, okay, that's the end of the trolley dilemma. Thank you for all of you for your opinions. And since that most managers encounter ethical dilemmas that are tough to resolve, since it's very difficult to decide whether they should do or not. If they do, it is right or wrong. So when managers are in those situations, they will make decisions based on frameworks that will guide them. And now that Nguyen will continue our presentation. Thank you for listening to me.
So can you see my screen share clearly?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Just wait a minute. All right. So after I will take over from here. So ethical dilemmas, involve a conflict between the needs of the part and the whole. So the individual versus the organization, or the organization versus the society as a whole. Managers, now they must face with these kinds of tough ethical choices. Okay, like the situation that Phương Anh gave you guys in the last part. While though those tough ethical choices often benefit from a normative strategy, one based on norms and values to guide their decision making. So normative ethics uses several approaches to describe values for guiding ethical decision making. There are 4 approaches that are relevant to the managers. So before getting on with the first part, I would like to ask you guys a question. Well, imagine that Vietnamese police were informed about a bomb attack in a major city. It can be Hanoi capital or Ho Chi Minh City, and agents capture a suspect who they believe has information about where the bomb is planted. Is it permissible for them to torture the suspect into revealing the bomb's whereabouts? Can the dignity, sorry, wait a minute. Sorry, guys. Okay, so can the dignity of one individual be violated in order to save many others? Can I have your opinions? Okay, guys. This question is kind of similar to the question that Phương Anh asked you guys, but it's quite a little bit different. Does anyone want to share your opinion? All right, I see. Lê Quang Nam, please.
I saw Hồ Lên Duy also raise his hand, so I think I will leave it to him first.
Oh, anyway, it doesn't matter. It's just
Okay.
everyone will have a turn. So yeah.
So I think, yeah, so as you said, it is quite the same as the last one, but actually a fun fact is this is a famous situation. Actually, they made a film out of it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Samuel L. Jackson acted in.
Yeah.
So yeah. So in my personal opinion, so there is one kind of crime called I forgot what is in English, but in Vietnamese is diệt chủng, genocide or something. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah. So in some country, or especially in the United Nations, so they consider diệt chủng to be something that is beyond normal crime, such thing as shoot on sight on terrorists or something. So yeah, I think because this suspect has the potential of conducting such a big crime and affects such a large number of people.
So
I think it is right. It is right to torture him, as to know the whereabouts.
Okay, so eventually, it violates the dignity of one individual.
Yes.
Okay.
I think it is still okay as long as the torturer actually know what he is doing. He captured the right suspect, not the wrong one. Yeah.
All right.
It must be the right suspect.
Thank you very much, Wang. So I need one more opinion on this question. Okay, please, Thanh Thương.
Well, actually, to my knowledge, the law won't allow an agent to violate in the dignity of the suspect, and in which they don't have any proof, so that the police must find another way to find a bomb. And they can't not violate in the dignity of one individual.
Okay, so in your opinion, this is no right to torture a suspect, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, thank you. I see, okay. So if your answer is yes, you may, use the utilitarian approach. Well, the approach, this concept is that moral behaviors produce the greatest good for the greatest number. So as the previous example, right? You have to torture a suspect in order to protect millions of people in the city. So yeah, and nowadays the decision maker is expected to consider the effect of each decision alternative on all parties and select the one that optimizes the benefits for the greatest number of people. Okay, so nowadays, like companies usually monitor the internet's use of employees, and also they want to monitor the police consumption of alcohol and maybe the tobacco consumption too, because those activities can affect the whole workplace, right? Okay, so let's jump into the individualism approach. Well, this is the concept that acts are moral when they promote the individual's best long-term interests. And, you know, with everyone pursuing self-direction, the greater good is ultimately served because people learn to accommodate each other in their own long-term interest. Well, a typical example of this is, let's say, imagine you are a salesperson in car industry. You may give the bonus, the extra money to the salesperson in the sales department in order to come up with the new ideas. In order to increase the sales, well, in order to increase the sales, well, in the area of production, promoting individualism can lead to greater efficiency as workers compete to find new ways to cut production time and costs. So this is very close to the domain of So can you guys ask this approach is closest to which domain on the screen? Okay. Hello, can anyone give me your answer for this question? So do you think that, which domain do you think that is most similar to the individualism approach? Yeah, Ms. Thi-Hang, please.
I think that is the domain of free choice will be aligned with the individualism.
So why do you think so? Can I ask?
Because you can see in the picture that the domain of free choice involves personal standard, just as individualism promote individuals' best interests. So I think the two are aligned with each other.
Okay. Thank you very much. Is there any other opinions? No, right? Okay, so this is, yeah, your answer is right, T. Because the car dealer is free to choose this way, you know, and did not violate any specific laws in order to increase the sale, right? It is his personal decision to increase the sale of his department. Okay, so next is the moralized approach. Well, moral decisions are those that best maintain the rights of those people affected by them. And well, there are 6 moral rights that managers and you should be taken into account. The first one is the right of free consent. For those of my friends that don't know what a consent is, it means that agreement or permission. So individuals are to be treated only as they knowingly and freely agree to be treated. So let's imagine that you are vaccinated by the doctors, and you got varicella vaccines. They got you varicella vaccine without permission from you and agreements from you. So, and you also have some conflicts and disagreements with the varicella vaccine, because you may think that varicella vaccine is not appropriate, is not safe, for example. So this violates the right of free consent. Okay. Another example is that, for example, if you are an unconscious patient and the doctors perform the experimental medicine on your body while you are unconscious. So this violates the right of free consent. Okay, next is the right to privacy. Individual can choose to do as they please away from work and have control of information about their private life. So yeah, like Facebook, they always monitor our private information without letting us know about what they are doing with our information. And also nowadays, some managers would really love to monitor their employees' activities, eventually the non-work activities, like you hang out with friends, they want to know really much. Yeah. So next is the right of freedom of conscience. Now, individuals may refrain from carrying out any order that violates their moral or religious norms. So let's say you are the owner of a transnational company in manufacturing the beef meat products, and you want to expand your business in India, for example. This place has a variety of religions, and most of them are Hindus. And well, according to Hindus, when you kill animals, this is not appropriate according to their religious norms. So you may find it so hard to offer to make your workers to kill cows in order to make your product. So another right is the right of free speech. While individuals may criticize truthfully the ethics or legality of action of others, well, this reminds me of a very famous case in the middle of October, just last month. Well, a woman named, let me remember. Oh, so a woman who is a Facebook employees, well, have accused Facebook of combating hate speech and misinformation and threats to the public. So it's a very she stood for and accused the CEOs of Facebook, which is Mark Zuckerberg, and he had to go to the court. Well, the right to due process. Individuals have a right to an impartial hearing and fairment. So for example, if the government wants a parcel of land, of your land, in order to build highway, they have to buy your land according to the market value, and according to market value, and they cannot seize your private property without announcement and compensation for the part of land that you lost, right? So this is a very common example of this right of a due process. Well, next is the right to life and safety. Individuals have a right to live without endangerment or violation of their health and safety. Well, companies nowadays offer their employees with many health insurance, and also they really comply with the legislation of health and safety by our government. In the opposite, the employees have to cooperate with the company in order to avoid those accidents, right? So let's move on to justice approach. Well, about this approach, moral decision must be based on the standards of equity, fairness, and impartiality. And the first one, distributive justice. In the case of substantive differences, people should be treated differently in proportion to the differences among them. Well, distributive justice requires that different treatment of people should not be based on arbitrary characteristics. Individuals who are similar in ways that relevant to a decision should be treated similarly. Yeah, for example, the women and men in workplace should be paid similarly. Yeah, when it comes to payment and salaries. But the difference in the skill levels and the job responsibility, well, due to those factors, you have to pay differently according to their responsibility and skill levels, right? So next is procedural justice. Well, rules should be clearly stated and consistently and impartially enforced. Well, for example, the process of how a manager gives raises with compliments for an employee will be seen as unfair if he only gives raises to his friends, right? But we tend to think of fairness as always being a good thing, right? However, if someone else receives a good outcome, and you think that the process were unfair, you can easily blame someone else, right? And eventually, if the process appears to be fair, then it is pretty hard to blame anyone but yourself for missing out, right? So next is compensatory justice. Individuals should be compensated for the cost of their injuries by the party responsible and should not be held responsible for matters over which they have no control. Well, one typical example for this is let's imagine this situation applies for the boys. Like after graduation from the university, you got a job, but you have to serve the military for 2 years and maybe 2 years and a half. I don't know, but you may have a chance. You may have a chance to lose some position in your company, right? So the responsibility of your organization is to ensure that you will have the same opportunity in job position when you come back after you serving the military. So this compensatory justice is really close and similar to a domain that you can see on the screen. So I may ask you this question. So which domain is most similar to the compensatory justice? Okay.
Can you repeat the question?
So which domain is most similar to the compensatory justice, which I have explained to you?
I think it is the domain of ethics.
Domain of ethics? So what do you think so?
Oh yeah, is it the domain of codified law?
That's right. Okay, yeah. So why do you choose this domain?
Because I think it is a legal standard for the government to protect the citizens' rights.
Yes, absolutely. Yes. Yeah. Thank you. Okay. So This is very similar to the domain of law because it assumes that justice is applied through rules and regulations, and managers are expected to define attributes on which different treatment of employees is acceptable. So this is the end of my presentation, and I will land the presentation for Huy Bảo, please.
Okay, so you guys can wait for me a little bit. I will share my screen. Okay, so could you guys see my screen?
Yes.
Okay. So first of all, I will introduce you about the individual, manager, and ethical choice. So first of all, individuals are shaped by personal needs, family influence, and religious background. For example, family influences are the way that parents teaching young children to be independent or having a critical thinking. Also, a religious background, Muslim women will be serious about the action from others with the hair. And all of this will shape the way that they judge an action ethical or not. Also, individuals bring their own personalities and traits to organizations. Introvert, extrovert, and many other personalities in the workplace. They will have different ways to communicate and act in different situations. So, as a manager, you should learn more about your employees by get familiar with your employees, incorporate personality education in your management, learn how different personality communicate, and create a work environment that allows different personalities to thrive. And also, with your ego, your confidence, and your independence, you may find a way to solve an ethical problems. So we will move to three different levels of moral development, which is first, pre-conventional level. Pre-conventional is basically is external control, which we act in our interest, external rewards and punishments, obey authority to avoid detrimental personal consequences. So for example, at the pre-conventional level, children don't have a personal code of morality, which means quy tắc đạo đức cá nhân, and instead moral decisions are shaped by the standards of adults and the consequences of following or breaking the rules. So if an action leads to punishment, which the children be scolded, it must be bad. And if it leads to a reward like a candy, it must be good. So in this level, business has the leadership style is autocratic, which means độc tài, or coercive, which means áp đặt. Autocratic leaders typically make choices based on their ideas and judgments and rarely accept advice from followers, involves absolute authoritarian control over a group. And employee behavior is task accomplishment. They have little input and just follow what leader says and they should do or not to do. So in the level 2, I'm sorry, this screen is a little bit misspelling. It's conventional. And conventional is all about lives up to expectation of others. It's how they learn to conform to the expectation of good behavior as defined by colleagues, family, friends, and society. They also uphold laws because if one person violates a law, perhaps everyone would. Thus, there is an obligation and a duty to uphold laws and rules. And they also fulfill duties and obligation of social system. For example, a child's sense of morality is tied to personal and society relationships. Children continue to accept the rules of authority figures, but this is now due to their belief that this is necessary to ensure positive relationship and societal order. Just like they throw trash in the right place or go to school to fulfill society's role. In this level, leader style is guiding, encouraging, and team-oriented, which they will focus on nurturing the individual strengths of each team member, encouraging them to reach their highest potential as individuals and as a team. And also, employee behavior is work group collaboration such as builds positive relationships, communicates powerfully, and trusts each other. And the final level, post-conventional. They balance concern for individual with concern for common good, aware that people hold different values, seek creative solutions to ethical dilemmas, and follow internal values. So these values based on universal principle of justice. Internal values become more important than the expectation of significant others, and people choose the ethical principles that they want to follow, and if they violate those principles, they feel guilty. For example, a girl sees a friend A fighting another friend B, and she knows the school has a rule to prohibit fighting. But she also knows that B punched a young girl yesterday, so she thinks the rules cannot serve all members in the community. Now she believes that B should learn a lesson. So she views rules as useful, but changeable mechanisms rather than absolute dictates that must be obeyed without questions. And in business, this level leader style is transforming or servant leadership. Leaders encourage, inspire, and motivate employees to innovate and create change that will help grow and shape the future success of the company. And employee behavior empowered employees full participations. They are powerful, confident individuals and who are committed to meaningful goals and demonstrate initiative and creativity to achieve them. So before moving deeply to the next part, could you guys give me some example about givers and takers behavior in general life? Anyone? Okay, so could I randomly pick one of you? It's just a simple question. Could you guys can give me some example about a giver or a taker in general life? Okay, so Ngọc Mai, please.
Yes, I want to explain about giver and taker. So
Yes.
giver is the one who gives the object, and taker is the one who receives the object from the giver. As
Okay.
in my opinion, yes.
Okay, thank you so much.
Yes.
Anyone else? All right, so we will move into this part. Okay, so as givers, they will order focus whenever others need, and the benefit to others exceed the personal cost. And takers, they will self-focused, help others strategically, and the benefits to themselves outweigh the personal cost. And as a givers, when givers win, people are rooting for them and supporting them rather than gunning for them. And when the takers win, people tend to envy successful takers and look for ways to knock them down a notch. So that is the end of my part. So please move to the next part and welcome another person.
So let's move on to next part. What is corporate social responsibility? Corporate social responsibility, or CHR, is an obligation of the organization to act in ways that serve both its own interests and the interests of its many external publics. To put it in another way, it means distinguish right from wrong, doing right. It means good corporate citizens and also make choices that contribute to society as well as the organization. So, who are external publics? These publics are considered stakeholders, the person and groups who are affected by or can influence the organization. For example, employees, customers, shareholders, and so forth. Different stakeholders have different interests in the organization and thus different criteria for social responsiveness. Shareholders, employees, customers, and suppliers are considered primary stakeholder with whom without them, the organization could not survive. In the government, community, and special interest groups are also important stakeholders. And since stakeholders' impact is the primary consideration of social responsibility, all stakeholders' interests should be considered and balanced for an organization to be socially responsible. Today, going green has become a new business imperative, driven by shifting social attitudes, new government policies, climate change, and also international technology quickly spread the negative decision of corporation. And more organizations now are embracing sustainability. Sustainability is the big part of business these days. Sustainability isn't just about making sure that we don't affect the environment, but also making sure that we don't create waste, we don't affect the climate, and making sure that we actually have a sustainable business plan to keep it going and staying in business. We want to recognize and honor that companies are making greater attempts to be more green, to be more environmentally friendly and sustainable. The ethic of sustainability said that economic development that generates wealth and meets the needs of the current population while reserving the environment for the needs of future generations. The triple bottom line dimensions are also commonly known as the 3P, including people, planet, and profit. So you can see that there's a definition of this on the screen. To make it more detailed, I will just define it. And the people part of the triple bottom line looks at how socially responsible the organization is in terms of fair labor practice, diversity, supplier relationships, treatment of employees, contribution to the community, and so forth. The planet aspect measures the organization's commitment to the environmental sustainability. In the third P, profit. The financial, based on the principle that what you measure is what you strive for and achieve, using a triple line approach to measure monitoring performance ensure that managers take social and environmental factors into account rather than blindly pursuing profit, no matter the cost to society and the natural environment. And the companies that embrace sustainability measure performance in terms of financial performance, social performance, and the environmental performance, referred to as the triple bottom line. So we now back again to Linh Chi.
Yes, so wait for me for a minute. So now I'm in charge of part 7, evaluating corporations' social responsibility. So in today's fast-changing business world, companies are facing multiple new environmental, social, and cultural challenges that in large part determine their capacity to establish, maintain, and protect their business. So the corporate social responsibility pyramid holds that firms should engage in decisions, actions, policies, and practices that simultaneously fulfill the 4 components part. I'm sorry, in my house there are a plane flying over, so wait for me for a quick second. So you can see the pyramid here on the screen. The business institution is, above all, the basic economy unit of society. Its responsibility is to produce the goods and services that society wants and to maximize profits. Above this layer is legal responsibility. It's also required is by society, and businesses are expected to fulfill their economic goals within the framework of legal requirements. So in other words, a company must obey the law. Organizations that knowingly break the law are poor performers in this category. Moving on to the ethical responsibilities, it is highly expected by society for corporations to do what is right and avoid harm. Discretionary responsibility is the highest criterion of society responsibility because it goes beyond society's expectations to contribute to the community's welfare. It means that organization pursues a positive human impact, moral goodness, and unconditional society betterment for its own sake. So, stated in the form of an equation, it would read as follows. Economic responsibility plus legal responsibility plus ethical responsibilities plus discretionary responsibility equal total corporate social responsibility. So in summary, if individual ethical responsibility is about being a good individual citizen, corporate social responsibility is about being a good organizational citizen. So next, let's consider part A, which is building an ethical organization. It is unfortunate how common corporate immorality, deception, in Vietnamese, lừa dối, and abuse can be. These unethical behaviors betray customers' trust, destroy workforce morale, and damage society overall. Managing unethical behavior is a problem that organizations have been aiming to combat for a long time. So an ethical organization consists of 7 parts, which is ethical leadership, codes of ethics, ethics committee, chief ethics officer, ethics hotlines, ethics training, and support for whistleblowers. So managers are role models. One of the most important ways that managers create ethical and socially responsible organizations is by practicing ethical leadership. So first, we'll talk about the codes of ethics. So a code of ethics sets out an organization's ethical guidelines and best practices to follow for honesty, integrity, and professionalism. For members of an organization, violating the code of ethics can result in sanction, including termination. So it's like an example that I have mentioned before, that the CEO and his female secretary thing is not illegal, but it is unethical. So next, about the ethical structures. Ethical structures represent the various systems, positions, and programs a company can undertake to implement ethical behavior. It means that the top managers and supervisors are in charge of overseeing subordinates, so to see if they are ethical or not. So moving on to whistleblowing. We can see that a whistleblower is someone who reports unethical actions to someone who is in a position to rectify the wrongdoing. Whistleblowers play a key role in cleaning up a company's financial and corporate cultural, and even help them achieve profitability goals. To be more specific, let's make a scenario. So Tom is an employee of a furniture company. He discovered that one of his co-workers receives money from the company rival and fake the company's data. So Tom reports this to the manager, and in this case, Tom is a whistleblower. Well, about the business case for ethics and social responsibility. Ethics and social responsibilities are important business issues. The connection between ethics and financial performance has been widely debated. Integrity and trust are essential elements in sustaining successful and profitable business relationships. That means a company in which has reputation of ethics often make more profit than ever. So that's the end of our presentation. Thank you for listening to the lesson today. We will send this slide to our group, and if anyone has any question, if anyone has any concern, you can look at this. So now, does anyone have any question?
Okay, thank you very much for team one. It's very good presentation. And you guys, you can ask question and discuss about this lesson with team one. With a big jump.
Can I ask a question about 3 levels of personal moral development? Which level most of managers operate at nowadays? I'm concerned about it. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Big Jam.
Okay, so I'm gonna answer your question. So most manager nowadays is in level 2, and actually just a few people can move up to the level 3. So basically it not have many details in that level 3, because in the book, in the material that if you have read, it's only 20% of adults in America can reach to that level. So basically most of them will be in level 2. So my answer can solve your concern.
Yeah, thank you. It's very exactly answer from Huy Bảo. And I asked some ideas that if you want to be ethical manager, you should practice and to move you to the level 3. level 3, and so you can has low risk of ethical in your decision and your behavior. So you should try to move to the level 3. Thank you. And other question? Yeah, Minh Thư.
I want to ask that, do you guys feeling that Vietnamese company that already has the corporate sustainable, the CSR, is it doing well, or is it still ineffective with that, or is it become more sustainable if it has that fund? Yeah.
Yeah, thank you, me too. And so I want also not only Team 1 answer the question, and I want on your last, you can share your opinion, your ideas from the, to discuss about the question.
Can you please repeat the question?
I want to add that Vietnamese company that already have the CSR fund, do you think that is doing well, or is still ineffective with that fund? Is it more sustainable if those company has that fund?
Yes. And anyone can answer the question and share your ideas, your opinion with the last. Sunda.
In my opinion, like I see that there are two organizations in Vietnam that are doing well in this CSR fund. The first one I see that is Vinamilk. Yeah, they organize many projects in support the kids in rural areas, yeah, who are living in the mountain, and the ethnic people. No, I don't remember, but they support their products in order to ensure that the kids have the most appropriate nutrition. The second organizations that is the Vin Group. Yeah, and I think that they have donate to the social welfare and social benefits a lot, and I think that they donate and establish the scholarship for the students, and also yeah, during this pandemic, they also import the vaccines. I don't remember all the test kit. I don't know. Yeah, for they gain no profit from that, and they donate it for the government. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you, Sunda. And I want to hear one or two more opinion of you. And before I answer the question, I want to answer ask you another question. What activity considers as the CSR activity of the company? It means that what CSR activity of the company? When a company do CSR, what will they do?
I will answer the question. Like, if I have known that the Saint-Gobain Corporation is a construction corporation, and so its CSR involved activity of this corporation is about giving the chance to the student of like Backware or some university that engage in mechanical to reduce or to establish a new a new way of infrastructure or a construct that is more has less pollution into the environment, will save the environment, and also can also save the resources that they have to use in a building like that.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. Me too. And I want to ask team number one. Team one, how many dimensions of CSR?
Can I answer the question?
Yeah.
So there are 4 dimensions of CSR, and that is economic, legal. Wait for me for a minute. Economic, legal, and
ethical.
I'm sorry. Just wait for me for a minute.
It's as ethical. I can yeah, it's ethical and discretionary.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, that's usually I will be. That's why I want to ask you the question, because usually we also focus on the discretionary activity of company, and we think that they do CSR good or bad. First, to know on the CSR activity of the company, you must at first maybe we can focus on 4 dimensions of CSR. You must focus know about the economic activity. Is there make this company do to make profits for the shareholder, for the owner, and they obey the laws, and maybe they miss the needs of the society about this rules, regulation, and standards, value of the society, and final as this is necessary. So we must now ask the who's, and that's the one point. That's the point from the author Caron in 1991. His theory from 1991, and now others perspective about CSR, that the triple point about 3P. Team 1 presented you about people and planet and profits. And if you want to know how a company do CSR good or bad, you can also focus on how they do to improve the people, especially the employees and community, and about planets, how they protect and the environment and our management, and the third P, that's the make profits, how profits from make profits for owner. You must know on the perspective, on the dimension, to know how the company do the CSR good or bad. Okay, thank you. It's very good. Me too. And about in Vietnam, in Vietnam. CSR also very new is Vietnam, and in Vietnam about I remember us in about the year 2011 when United States they had program to improve the CSR in Vietnam, and as from that time the term CSR can is considered by the company and the community and university, and also I am also the first people to join the program, and based on the program I developed the CSR subject in US, and maybe in the third the second year you can study the cost, the CSR cost, the dependent CSR cost with the 3 values. And other question? Okay, and I will ask you some questions. Refer to about the level of ethical level. I want to you to list dilemmas case study about the doctor dilemmas, and I want you to share your ideas, or share your idea about this case study, and also I want to order students after you hear your friend, your classmate share the idea, you can tell the last that this idea belong to which level of ethical level this idea belong to, level 1 or level 2 or level 3. Do you understand? Do you understand my requirement? As first,
again, please.
As first, you read this case study, and I want some students to share your opinion about this case study. What should you do if you were a doctor in this case study? What should you do? And after one student share the idea, I want other students in the last tell us that idea belong to what level, what ethical level, belong to what ethical level, level 1 or level 2 or level 3. Understand? Okay, you can list the case study. Okay, I hear the raise hand. Linh Chi.
Yeah, I think that the doctor should give her the morphines because she would rather want to die than to suffer the pain. So I think that it would be more ethical to give her the morphine.
Yeah, thank you your answer, Linh Chi. And other I can classify this answer belong what level of ethical this lesser answer belong and why belong to and why. So yeah, this is about pre-level, pre-conventional and conventional and post-conventional level, which belong to. The idea of Linh Chi belong to what? Level 1, level 2, or level 3?
Yeah, I think it is level 3.
Level 3, why?
Because the doctor is not obliged to do any of those. There's no specific rules that tell the doctors exactly what to do, and whatever he choose to do in that case, it is up to him, and not at all it is illegal.
Thank you, Quang Nam. Yes. Do you agree with Quang Nam?
Yes, teacher.
Okay. Thank you. And others that can share the solution for this situation, these dilemmas. Minh Hạnh.
Yes, thank you. I would not choose to give her the dose of morphine actually, because the law is the law, and even if the person is dying, a life is still alive. Yes, so no one, and I believe that no one in any circumstances has the right to decide that who should die and who should not die, something like that. And on top of that, doctor is not allowed to to kill a person, to kill a patient, even if it is directly or indirectly. So what? And also doctor doctor right? Yeah, yes. So I would choose to not. Although it's really painful, but I would choose to not give her morphine and painkiller and let her suffer. Yes, that's my answer.
Yeah, thank you, Minh Hạnh. Yeah. And Minh Hạnh answer, can you list it into what level this answer can belong to?
I think that this answer is belong to the level 1.
Level 1, why?
Because it follows the rules and avoid any punishment.
Yeah. Thank you, Thanh Văn. And other question about Minh Hạnh answer. What's the criterion of ethical decision making Minh Hạnh answer belong to? It's about utilitarian approach, individualism approach, and moral right approach, and justified approach, or distribute, or that's a practical approach. What's criterion this answer belong to? five criteria of ethical decision making. What of five? Quang Nam, you can answer.
Okay. So I think it is.
I listen.
Yeah.
Maybe here. Oh.
Yeah, I think it is the moral rights approach, since if the doctor choose to kill the patient, he would violate the right to life and safety, which is individuals have a right to live without endangerment or violation of their health and safety.
Yeah, thank you. Exactly, Quang Nam. Yes. Minh Hạnh answer and belong to she uses the moral right approach to solve this situation. And one more solution about this case study. Who can share your solution? You on already? When I'm already, and I want the new ones. Okay. I want explain about the answer of Minh Hạnh and who the first solution who anyone. Quang Nam.
So I have one simple explanation for the choice that the doctor should not give the patients the medicine. Just it is not just because of the moral rights that he keeps to himself, but actually when a medical student become a doctor, first they have to swear with the Hippocratic Oath, which is the lời thề Hippocratic. Yeah. So the Hippocratic Oath says that I will use my power to help the sick to the best of my ability and my judgment. I will not harm or wronging any person by it. So yeah, so I think because the doctor they made the oath before they become doctors, so they are not allowed to harm any person under any circumstances.
Yeah, thank you. And your answer belong to what level? Yeah, and you?
Yeah, I think it is conventional, level 2.
Level 2. Mr. Nam answer can be listed as the level 3. Level 3. And Linh Chi answer and Minh Hạnh answer can be level 2. Why? Because Linh Chi and Minh Hạnh answer just based on Linh Chi based on the desire, the needs of the patient, the women patient, and you do as other one, what you do. This maybe belong to the level 2, and also Minh Hạnh based on the moral, based on the regulation, the value of the society, and you follow the society, and also level 2. And the answer of Quang Nam I think belong to level 3 because why? Because it's based on the internal value. The value of a doctor. That's the doctor they had to sell the people, not to do that, to skill people. They sell, and they had to square after they graduate from the medical university. Must square, do no harm, don't harm. You must but you the ability to sell the life of people. So if you answer that I'm a doctor, so my duty, my mission to sell people, sell the life, sell the people, not to kill people. So I will don't give your morphine dose to die. I can do. That's the level 3. So I want to use this dilemmas, doctor dilemmas, to give more clarity about the level of ethical level. And after you study this lesson, I want all of you know how to become ethical people and ethical manager. You should try to move to the level 3 more. Most of us in level 3, level 4, sorry, level 2, sorry, level 2, and only about the other American 20% other American in the level 3, and we try to move to level 3. To do that, as first, we all must have internal value. We must list outline the value of yours and try to follow the value to do the value. It's very easy. This value is balanced with your personal needs and the common and the social needs. So you can easy to do on the ethical behavior activities. And I had other questions about the CSR. Do you know about waste normally? Have you heard about this term COP26? To last, all of you can. Have you heard about this term COP26?
Yes, it's about environmental solutions that we need to give action right now.
When? Yeah. Okay. Who want to share your idea?
I think this is a summit where the nations in the world are gathered together to discuss about environmental problems.
Yeah. And who can explain more detail about COP26 or COP? Also, we can COP 21. COP21. So it relates very closely to CSR. That's it. Quang Nam.
Yeah. So I have just searched it, and I know that there are 4 major goals that COP26 conference they want to carry out. So the first one is to secure global net zero by mid-century and keep 1.5 degrees within reach. The second goal is to adapt to protect communities and natural habitats. The third one is to mobilize finance, and the last one is to work together to deliver the environmental changes. There are 4 goals. Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you, Quang Nam. And also, COP as a COP is about the appearance of the whole by the United Nations, and you there to the COP21 is very famous. That's the host in Paris in 2015, and many countries, 196 party signed on this agreement that's to reduce the carbon dioxide emission to the environment, and the very important goals to limit the global warming to below 2 degrees Celsius. And in this conference, many governments sign on the agreement. For example, in China, the United States, and many, and they commit to reduce. For example, China's commit to reduce 50% of carbon dioxide they emit to the environment in the year of 2030, and compare with the year 2002. But you also heard us Donald Trump when he became the president of the USA, and he whispered the USA from the COP 21, and this year the COP 26, and so Biden he must say sorry to the world about us, and the USA commit again to cooperate with other countries, other governments to reduce the carbon dioxide emission. And this one very important of CSR today is about the environment, and we also in this chapter we say about that's the go green, and today many green term you can hear. For example, green marketing, green products, green organization, or green university. US we go to green, we green and sustainable development university. It's because that's the the climate change today cause very many serious disaster from the world, the earth, and Vietnam also a country that's influenced very serious from the climate change. So today many people and many country, they care about the climate change and care about the environment. So company must to focus and pay more attention on environment. It's the one very important of Csr today. And other question. We talk about it. We have stakeholder, and do you can answer me? And do you, in your opinion, environment is a stakeholder or not? Environment. Today, environment very important in Csr. And do you, in your according to opinion, environment is a stakeholder or not, and why? Yeah, me too.
I think that environment is also a stakeholder.
Why?
Because environment can also affect the company, and also the company can also affect the environment. Like in the process, the company produce or establish the products. This can make the pollution or the exhaust into the environment that cause the environment worse, and also the environment can make impact on the company. Like if the company do harm to the environment and also don't care about the social impact, like the customer will how to say, discriminate the company, and also don't use their products anymore, so they will become punk group or something.
Yeah, thank you. Your opinion, your idea, me too. And I want someone else can share the ideas. This is also debate. Also debate question. Debate. It's the first according to Csr perspective, environment independent. There is not environment is not a stakeholder, but it's the personal interest group will make pressure on the company. So the personal interest, maybe they represent for the environment to make pressure to the company. So this the personal interest, for example, green space organization, animal robotics organization, for example. This is a personal interest group, the stakeholder. But if the environment depend with also environment, they not to be can consider as a stakeholder. And Minh Thư answer also you also tell about us. If company they harm, they do harm for the environment, the society may the choice may affect to the company. So I think it's my some about this lesson, and I will make very short summary about this lesson. The lesson we consider about the eight question that we know what is the managerial ethics as the rules and value. So what activity is good or bad? You know symbol that and today ethical management today people think it's not good today. Only about 15% of people outside a survey from the USA think that it's good, and the other 85% think ethical management today is not good. So it's the big problem of management today. So we must care. And but in the real time, in the workplace, there are many ethical dilemmas, and you must know how to solve with the ethical dilemmas in practice in real life today. So by on you can to solve with solve with the ethical dilemmas. You can maybe can use the criteria for ethical decision making. Five criteria for decision making, and it's very important that the individual's manager characteristics may affect about manager activity and manager ethical activity. And I want to avoid the unethical activity. You should go to liberty of ethical level, so we can have some low risk of ethical activity. That's about the managerial ethics. And about CSR, you can remember the symbol that CSR, that is the duty of the company to fulfill, to satisfy the needs of the community, of the society, beside to go to get profits. They must satisfy the needs of the society. And there are for their dimensions of CSR as economics, responsibility, ethical, legal responsibility, and ethical responsibility, and discretionary responsibility, and for their dimension. And also we weigh on the triple bottom line as the three P: people, planet, and profits. And the last ideas, the last content in this chapter, that you how to make your company become the ethical company. It's based on the third to become ethical company. At first, the company must have ethical manager. And second, that they had a structure, ethical structure, and not had a conduct, code of conduct, code of ethic to guide any people in the community to do, how to do, what's value, what's activity they should do and they should avoid. And about they must has the to support the whistleblower to monitor the activity, the ethical activity in the company. And also the last that, and also about the you can have the ethic training or ethic hotline to guest and policy on the ethical activity, on unethical activity of the company. So that's on form for the chapter 5. Quang Nam, you have a question?
Dạ thầy cho em hỏi này bằng tiếng Việt nha thầy.
Yeah.
Dạ, tại vì em lên Google Scholar thầy thì có thấy một cái bài thầy đăng trên Chips vào năm